Welcome to Nebraska Public Media's Fun with Flowers event with Jay Schwanke. He's host of Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom. I'm Nancy Finken, and I lead the content group here at Nebraska Public Media. And again, we're so glad to have you tonight. You can watch Jay every week on Nebraska Public Media. We have him on Saturday mornings at 11 Central on our PBS station, and again on Tuesday mornings at 5 a.m. on Create. Now, I hope you have got your little bouquet of flowers that we encouraged you to have on hand. If you don't, that's okay. But Jay's going to give us lots of tips and tricks for arranging bouquets. And I hope that you have a little beverage because we're going to have a toast tonight as well. So get those ready. Before Jay gets started, a couple of things for you to know. We have question time, we have comments. We want you to go to the chat box that you see as part of the Zoom and type in your questions and comments there. We also would love to see pictures as you do your flower arrangements tonight with Jay. And we have some fantastic thank you gifts tonight that we're offering to donors. We have 2 of Jay's books. We have Fun with Flowers and Bloom 365. Those books are available as thank you gifts tonight. We have a set of buttons that are really fun. I'm actually wearing a couple of those on my lapels tonight to show them off. A whole bunch of buttons from Life in Bloom that we'll offer as a thank you gift, and much more. So you can go to our website, nebraskapublicmedia.org/funwithflowers to learn more about those thank you gifts. Now, just in case you don't know this, we are especially proud to have Jay on Nebraska Public Media because even though he lives in Michigan now, we claim him as our own because he was born into the flower business in Nebraska. That's right, Jay is from Fremont, but his parents were at a flower convention and he was born during a snowstorm at a flower convention. So, you know, he was bound to become a flower expert with that sort of a start in life. He's a 4th generation florist. He's the host and creator and producer of Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom. And he is a much sought after public speaker. His expertise in the world of flowers has also won him many, many awards. So Jay Schwanke, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thanks, Nancy. I'm so glad to be back in Nebraska. This is the closest that I've been. So that's wonderful. And thank you all for watching. I appreciate it because I know each and every one of you are out there and we are Nebraskans and we stick together. That's our whole deal. So thank you so much for having me.
So glad to have you here. It's just wonderful. And I love the setting that you're in. I just can't wait to get started. So let's kick off this fun event. I've got something ready and I know you do.
All right. Well, I thought it would be fun for us to make a cocktail. And so today I was really inspired by this little pin I got from my friend Judy, who's a Nebraskan. And it's the bottom of a knife with a flower pattern and it's cut off so I can fill it with flowers. And when I was filling it with flowers, I grabbed some lavender off my lavender bushes. And I thought, that's what we'll do tonight. We will make a champagne lavender cocktail. And so I have champagne here for us. We'll get that opened first. And then what we're going to do is I have a couple of options. We can use lavender syrup, which is a simple syrup that is made with sugar and fresh lavender. You boil it on the stove and then you cool it down and you have a simple syrup. Or tonight I've started, I don't know, all of a sudden I've gotten into bitter things. I like my cocktails to have a bitterness to them. And so I made this lavender bitters and it's going to actually be featured on season 4. So it's made with vodka and it's a steeping process that takes 2.5 weeks. So we are going to use that along with our champagne. So celebration for our friends in Nebraska. Nothing better than spending the evening with flowers and Nebraskans.
Well, we agree. And again, so exciting to have you here. Now, you made that syrup yourself?
I did make this myself. And so basically it was the fresh lavender in vodka with some orange peels for 2 weeks. And I'll have the recipe up on my website. But then you keep shaking it, turning it, shaking it, turning it, and it makes this amazing aromatic lavender bitters that you can use. And I love that it gives it another steep of color again. So I think that that's fun too. So cheers to Nebraska, to Nebraska Public Media and your own Life in Bloom.
Cheers to you.
Oh, that's amazing. This is my first time to try it. So I love that. Okay, that's good. Flower cocktail hour has begun.
I just think that the idea of making cocktails with flowers is so wonderful and unique. And how many of us actually do that? But we'll be inspired tonight by learning these tips and tricks from Jay. And a quick reminder that we do have some special thank you gifts when you are a donor to Nebraska Public Media tonight. At the $7 a month level, you'll get the Fun with Flowers book and Life in Bloom buttons. 2 of those I'm wearing on my lapels tonight. Or at $10 a month, we'll send you the Bloom 365 book and the Fun with Flowers book. So you get both books plus those buttons. And at the $14 a month level, we'll send you a 1-year subscription to Jay's You Bloom, plus both books and the buttons. So we hope that you will consider becoming a member, renewing your membership, or giving an additional gift right now. Now that youbloom.com site that Jay has, you'll see over 600 step-by-step videos about flower arranging that you can access anytime, anywhere when you get that 1-year You Bloom subscription. So that $14 a month level gets you books and that subscription and Life in Bloom buttons. Go to our website, nebraskapublicmedia.org/funwithflowers. You can learn more about this and make your contribution there. So Jay, you've rolled up your sleeves, you took off your jacket, you're ready to do something for us, right?
True. I can't work in a jacket if that's so true. So yeah, no, it has to be, we have to get down to the nitty gritty. So so today, if you've watched the show, you may have remembered our visit to Hope Dahlias. And it's a mother-daughter pair that got together. The daughter is a dental hygienist and the mother was an oncology nurse. And she started Hope Dahlias as a place that her oncology patients could go to pick flowers while they were having treatments. She didn't charge them. She just gave them the ability to go pick the flowers so that it would give them hope. And they are wonderful, precious people. They now raise all kinds of flowers. So they have diversified from their dahlias to have lisianthus, sunflowers, snapdragons, and they made this beautiful bouquet that we're going to use tonight. And they are at our farmers market. So I am a 24/7, 365-day-a-year farmers market guy here in Michigan. And we have a wonderful farmers market here in Grand Rapids that is open all year long. And so I go there and I get these. And she was there for the first time last week. And I was like, hey, I need some of those. So that's what we're going to use tonight is we're going to use a bunch of flowers. Now, whether you pick up your flowers at a farmer's market, whether you pick them up at a professional florist, whether you go to the grocery store, there are lots and lots of different places for you to pick up flowers. And one of the things that I want you to know, and I think that has become so important about our show, is that having flowers in our home improves our lives. Flowers make us happier. They make us feel less depressed. Homes that have flowers in them have less arguments. That's a reason right there to have those flowers around. People who are ill, who are sick, who get flowers, get better faster than those who do not. So it's another great way. And if the flowers happen to be yellow, they get better faster still. So that's important too. You may also be growing flowers in your garden. I love, you know that I love coming to Campbell's, and you've got great resources for wonderful garden flowers in Nebraska. And so this bucket back here is stuff out of my garden tonight. So we're also going to reach back in there and grab a few things to enhance what we're making too. So I think it's always important for us to start at Flowers 101, the first things that you need to do. And so when you get your bouquet of flowers, you're going to want to put it in a vase. And you know what? This doesn't work. Okay, that doesn't count. So we want to make sure that we're doing something special with it. Although I've seen this, and if that's as good as it gets, that's okay. But I think we can do better than that. So when we get our bouquet, typically inside that bouquet, there will be a little packet of flower food. And that's essential. I want you to use that. I want you to follow the directions that are on the back, and I want you to add it to your water. Typically what I will do is I try and get 2 of them, because I want one to go in the vase and then one to put in another bottle of water. And then I mark that bottle with a little flower and I put it in the fridge. Because we want to use ice cold water for our flowers. We don't want to use warm water. I know you've heard that, but it's an old wives' tale. And actually what happens with that warm water is it starts to cook the stems and degrade them and causes bacteria. That's our number one enemy. And this little packet is going to help us keep the bacteria levels down inside that vase. So we have ice cold water. We've got our packet of flower food. I added flower food to all my vases tonight, so I'm not going to show you that, but I've already done it. And the reason I don't want to do it again is I don't want you to overdose or use too much. This is for a liter of water, so that's what's inside this vase. So don't add two. Two isn't better. It won't make it better. Put this one in another bottle, put it in the fridge, this one in the vase, and then when your water depletes down, you can add that water, okay? And just top off. There's no reason for you to change it if you're using the flower food. So the next thing that we need tools, okay? And so tonight I'm using a bypass cutter. These are from Dramm and I love them. They're part of their Color Point series. They match my clothes, they match the set. I love that. There's 6 different colors, but I like the bypass pruner because the blade bypasses the other blade and cuts better. This is the pruner. This is for delicate work or detail work, so that would help me with that. I used to use a knife all the time. Makes people nervous. Professional florists use knives, but I don't want anybody to cut themselves, so this is a better way for us to do that. But if you're proficient with a knife, you can use a knife too. Don't use the scissors, okay?
I was just gonna say, never a scissors, right?
Yeah, scissors is over here. We're over here where it belongs. Let's keep it over there because it will crush the vascular system of the flowers. And so it pinches it off. And the bypass cutter and our compact pruner don't do that. They're much sharper, and so they'll cut much better. So 2 types of vases. I have a cylinder vase here, and I have one that has a narrower neck. This one is easier to arrange in than this one. I call this a smart vase because it's tapered. And that little taper inside there helps gather the flower heads together and lets the stems at the bottom fall out, and it's going to give you a better bouquet. Okay? So first thing that I typically do is I will take off my rubber band. I'll take off my little wrapping paper that's on there. And I just want to examine my flowers. I want to look at them. I want to make sure that everybody's okay. I want to pull off anything that might be any leaves that might look brown or any petals that might be bad. I just want to go through there and just check them all out. And that's just the thing that I do is I just make sure everybody's okay. Then I typically like to start with a structure of foliage. That's something that will really help you when you're creating an arrangement. So that's where we enter with our backyard flowers. I went out today and so you are so lucky. This is my very first coleus. I plant coleus just to cut for my flower arrangements. But I love having coleus in my arrangements. And so my coleus are just big enough now. They just made it in time for this. I'm also going to add a scented geranium. So this is actually citronella, okay? And so what we're going to do with that is I've got some leaves down here that are going to fall below the water line. So I'm going to pop those off, and then I can drop that down inside my vase. Now, look what happens. It shoves those leaves up together, and that's okay. And then I can go in, I'm going to do the same thing with my coleus, remove any of those leaves that are going to fall below the water line. And I'm going to cut that, and I'm going to drop it inside there. I'm also going to add a couple hosta leaves, okay? One of my favorite, I have 75 hosta leaves in my yard. I have a problem, I understand. But I really love to use the hosta leaves in my arrangements. And I want to cut them short so that they rest on the edge of my vase. So I've got 2 of those that are resting on the edge of my vase. So that's what it looks like. And that little piece of structure in there, those 3 different types of foliage, are going to support the rest of the flowers that we put in the vase. So we can start then with some of our taller flowers. I love a snapdragon. I'm going to cut, and everything I'm going to cut, we're going to cut at an angle. So a 45-degree angle. Now I'm going to show you with this sunflower because it's easy for you to see. If I cut it off straight and I put it into my vase, it's going to sit flat on the bottom of the vase. And it's going to be harder for the water to get up inside it. So what I want to do is I want to cut it at an angle, a 45-degree angle, so that when it goes in there, see how I still have room for the water to go up inside? So it's a perfect way for me to cut them every single time. Now, the other thing I like to encourage you to do is to create a ritual with your flower arranging. I know that actually taking the time as I'm doing this, as I'm adding these flowers, cutting them and placing them into the vase, my body's secreting endorphins that are going to make me feel more relaxed, feel less stressed, feel less depressed. It's going to make me want to enlarge my circles of friends. It's going to want me. An interesting fact is that it will make me want to seek medical attention if I don't feel well. The act of arranging flowers, it's amazing what that endorphin rush can do for us. So as we're doing this, I want you to pick a time that is easy for you and a time when you can relax. I suggest getting a beverage, your favorite beverage, whatever that might be. It could be coffee, it could be Diet Coke, it could be lavender champagne. That's wonderful. Enjoy that. I also want you to take the time to put on a little bit of your favorite music. We are so excited. In a few weeks, we are going to be introducing our new CD, which is a CD of the music from Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom. It was created by my friend Ben Scott Brand, specifically for arranging flowers. And so it's relaxing, chill type music that is made just for you to arrange flowers. And it's the music that you've heard on the show. But I want people to relax and get in their space, create a little special time for them to go ahead and arrange those flowers. And as we do this, each time we're adding those flowers, we get a little bit more of that great feeling inside our bodies. So, yeah.
So
and go ahead, yes.
You are using a Lazy Susan there to turn it, and we appreciate that so that we can see all sides.
Right.
When you are a person who doesn't have a Lazy Susan and working on an arrangement, would you suggest that they physically walk around or turn the vase?
I would set it on the table like this and turn it around.
Yeah. Because we want to be able to look at an arrangement from all angles and still have it look symmetrical and beautiful, or?
Absolutely. And I think we want to observe, you know, I will tell you, so my Lazy Susan is from IKEA. They still carry it. Whenever I go, I buy 4 or 5 because I think they're like $9. Okay. And I give them away to friends because I'm like, here, you need a Lazy Susan to do your flower arrangements on. It's going to make your life so much easier. And I have them on every set I have. We use them on the show all the time and I love them. So yeah. It's just a great way to do that. And so now I'm down to the end of my flower arrangement and I've got it done. And and you know what? Here's the other thing. If you don't like where you put something, you can change it. I completely give you permission to do so. If you don't like this sunflower here and you want him over here, you can move him. That's the person you need to please first and foremost is yourself when it comes to flower arranging. So I always encourage you to be first. I love that there's a zinnia in here too. There's a great little zinnia over here. And it's just getting to be zinnia season here in Grand Rapids. So that's awesome. So see how that guy fell together and it pushed those flowers out like a funnel shape. The flowers go out, stems go out at the bottom. Okay.
Gorgeous. So what about how much are you taking off? I think that's one of the things that when you're first starting to arrange, aren't we kind of scared a little bit to really?
Absolutely. You know what? So let's do another one, Nancy, and let's show you a shortcut to making beautiful flowers, which is the shortcut.
All right.
Okay. All right. So we're going to grab another bunch. This is identical to the last one we had, or close. And obviously, this doesn't work, okay? This is not easy. And a lot of times people will have a cube of flowers that they want a cube vase they want to put flowers in, okay? And so what I encourage people to do at that point in time is I'm going to go through here and I'm going to remove any flowers that might fall below the water line. And I'm going to start to gather the heads up in my hand. So I'm going to start by just picking these up and putting them in my hand in a collection. No rhyme or reason. I'm just putting them in my hand so that all of the heads are together. And this is where that shortcut comes into play. Now, if I have big flowers like these sunflowers, I put them on the sides like this. If I have something like this, now, some people call this a filler flower. I hate that name because the only thing that I know of that really has filler in it is hot dogs. I grew up, right next to the Hormel factory. And so I don't like anything to be called a filler. I want this to be an accent flower. It's called Blue Plurum, and it's going to accent my other flowers. So we have focal flowers, we have line flowers, we have accent flowers, and we have form flowers. So in here, now I also want to make sure I'm going to remove these leaves that are going to fall below the water line. And I'm just gathering these up in my hand. Now, if I got a phone call, I could set it down and go get it, and then I'll come back and I can just pick it up again because everybody's okay. It's all right to do it that way. It should be fun. It should never be fear of flowers, okay? That's the other thing I always tell people. Always fun with flowers, never fear. So I got one more snapdragon in here, and I kind of want him to be up there. And this one, I'm going to remove a little bit more of that foliage. Okay. So now look at that, and look at my vase, okay? So that's what I want it to look like, right? I want it to look like that. And so what I'm going to do, and so hopefully this won't scare you too much, Nancy. I'm going to take this and I'm going to make a shortcut. I cut off that much of the stem, okay?
Right.
And then I drop it in my vase.
Perfect.
Shortcut is the shortcut. Now, guys, I promise you, if guys that are watching and you come home with a bunch of flowers like this and you put them into a vase like this in the garage and you bring them in the house, you might just get pie. I love pie. That's one of my favorite things. And Kelly has been so great. The last 15 months, he has made a pie every week. He's amazing. And so, yeah, we have pie every week. And so, I make sure that there's flowers in the house so that we make sure we have pie. So
sounds like a great trade-off.
Yeah. So shortcut. Now, if you want to do something to make your flowers last a little bit longer, there is a product called an anti-transpirant. And an anti-transpirant simply is the same type of thing we would use on holly. It is a liquid plastic that actually seals the molecular structure of the flowers. And so if I spray this on here, what it's going to do is prevent them from evaporating moisture off their face faster. And so it's going to make it slow down that process. And then they're going to last about 24% longer. So it's a great way to do that. If you look at this and see, I can't help but fuss. So I want those two to move around a little bit more. It's okay to move stuff around once you've put it in there. You don't have to sit there. I will move flowers around in my bouquets all the time. All the time. Happens all the time. So there we are.
Beautiful. And while Jay is putting that on the counter, I just want to remind everyone that he will answer your questions. Go to our chat box and type in your questions or comments. Or if you've been making arrangements right along with Jay, well, then send us a picture. We want to see what you've been up to. And a reminder that we have some beautiful thank you gifts. Fun with Flowers is available as a thank you gift at the $7 a month level. You'll also receive a set of Life in Bloom buttons. And as I said earlier, I'm wearing a couple of them on my lapel. I have one on my board behind me. They're just really fun. So that book and the Life in Bloom buttons at the $7 a month level, or become a member, renew your membership, give an additional gift at $10 a month to Nebraska Public Radio, and you will get 2 books, Bloom 365. Now this book is such a great guide to arranging flowers every day. So think of 365 days of the year. What can you do with flowers? It's in that book, plus Fun with Flowers and the Life in Bloom buttons. At the $14 a month level, you'll get those books and the button, plus a subscription to Jay's ubloom.com website, which is chock full of step-by-step videos about flowers and arranging. that you can access anytime, anywhere. So whether you are you're new to arranging flowers, or you just need sort of a restart, you've done it before and you want some new ideas, well, join us tonight at any of those thank you levels and you'll get inspired by Jay. Okay, Jay, you've got some more things in front of you.
I do. And so sometimes we pick up a bouquet, and that bouquet will typically end up in the kitchen or it will end up on the dining room table. But I like to have flowers all around the house. And so I like flowers in the bathroom. I like flowers at my nightstand. I like flowers on my shaving stand. I want flowers in the living room. I want flowers. I have a flower arrangement in front of the television set because I like to look at flowers while I'm looking at the fabulous stuff I watch on public television. So I want to see both of those things at the same time. So I thought it would be great to show you a way for us to create flowers for all around the house. So we are going to start with that, the exact same bunch that we had before again. And I have 4 little vases. So these are just an eclectic little collection of little types of vases I have. You could use fruit jars. You could use, great things like that. You could use cocktail glasses. You could use tumblers from your kitchen set, whatever you want to use. Little vases are a great way for us to have flowers around the house. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our sunflower, because that'll be great. All right, we'll slip that sunflower right inside this vase like that. And then we talked about our blue plurum before, so I've got that. I'm going to pull off any foliage that's going to fall below the water line. I'm going to grab a little piece of foliage inside here with that. If I wanted to, I could grab one of my hosta leaves from out in the garden, and I could drop that inside here too. I love the fact that my flowers from the garden can augment the other flowers that I have. So maybe I've picked up some flowers at the store, but I want to go back and I want to grab a couple things there. This week, I wanted to show you these because I'm so proud of them and I love them, is a flower called Tritoma. And these are growing out in the garden right now. They're called the red hot poker, okay? And I have 4 different colors. I've got orange, I have red, I have yellow, and I have green. And so we're going to throw a couple of those Tritoma inside here. They have an apical opening, so that works really well too. They open from the bottom to the top. And then I think I'll stick a yellow snapdragon in here as well. And let's see if there's anybody else that needs to go in there. I think I'll add one more piece of foliage here. There we go. So now we've got a little guy that looks like this. Now, let's go over here. We use another piece of foliage again inside there. And we talked about structure. That structure can be super helpful for us with any type of foliage that we might have. I grow an herb garden, and this is mint. And so I love for my flowers to have a fragrance, especially if I'm going to put them on my nightstand. There is nothing better in the whole world than waking up or going to sleep with the smell of flowers. And so I'm going to stick a few of these pieces of mint in here, and that fragrance is going to permeate that room for me. It's going to be wonderful. So then we'll use a couple of our little snapdragons. I have a little bit of cottage yarrow here. I've got another little red snapdragon. Here's a white one. I have one more white one inside here. We'll grab him too. That'll be great. And then I'm going to go back to the garden for half a second. I've got these beautiful longiflorum lilies that are growing, and they are heavenly. The fragrance is amazing. And I was so happy they were blooming tonight because I was like, this will be great for my friends from Nebraska to see from the garden. And I've got one more little one too here. Little guy like this. That looks good too. I'm going to grab 2. We'll put 2 in there. And I'm just going to slip him down inside there, nice and short. And then I've got a piece of chamomile here. And I'm just going to separate that. Again, accent flower. I'm going to go in here with those and add to that. So now this one's going to go to the bedroom. Then we've got one more little vase here like this. And I'm going to use another one of my sunflowers like this. I hang him on the edge. See how I do that? So I just kind of hang him on the edge and let him dangle off the side. We've got some alstroemeria. And we've got another pretty little orangey peach. Snapdragon. When I was a little kid, my grandpa would take the snapdragons like this, and you could make them talk. And it would be like, hello, you can make the snapdragon talk. We would also wear them as earrings too. So that was also, you know, a fun thing that my grandpa would do. So I love that too.
Fun with flowers. And you are, as I said at the top of our show, a fourth generation florist. So
it is true. It's
blood in your line.
Yeah, yeah. Carnation Joe Green was my grandpa, and of course my mom and dad, and then my grandpa's mom and dad, Katie and Charles Green, were the ones who started the flower shop. So let's see, I got one more of those little Veronicas to slip inside here. So now maybe this one can go in front of the television. All right. And then I've got this one I've got two flowers left, and I've got this little vase. So what I did was I put some gravel in the bottom of it. Okay. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of water inside there. And then I'm going to take my delphinium and just stick it into the gravel. I have a little bit of larkspur here too. And so I can just add those guys. I got just a couple little buds, and every single one of these little buds is going to open up. So that's going to be pretty wonderful like that. And you know what? I think I have a little bit of spirea from the garden. If my garden roses right now are coming on too, so I could drop a garden rose down inside here if I wanted to. But now I have a cutest little vase like that that can sit in the bathroom. So now I've got all four of these cute arrangements that I can put all around the house. I got plenty of space for them. So that's the best part, is having a flower here, putting another flower there, got another flower that's going to go over here. And you know what? The other thing that's important, I think so important for us to think about, is our creative space. So many of us are working from home now, and flowers help us find creative solutions to problems. That's another health and wellness benefit. If you want to read about all the health and wellness benefits about flowers, I've compiled all of the studies that have been done at Rutgers University, Boston University, Northern Florida University, the Israeli University. They're all on my website at ubloom.com/research. And you can look at all of them. But the interesting one that I find is that one about being creative in the office space. And it's just such a great way to have a few flowers in the office space to help us find solutions to problems and help us find more creativity in the office space. So it's a great opportunity for us to do that. So, and again, I would not forget to do my anti-transparent all the way across. Get those guys lasting as long as they possibly can. Because I think the other thing about it is, once we get used to having flowers in the house, we want to have them there all the time. So they make us feel good. Right?
Absolutely. So we'll just pause for just a second and remind all of you that we're looking for your pictures if you are designing at home along with Jay. Put those in the chat. Also, if you have any questions, we're going to pause pretty soon and let Jay answer some more questions. So questions and comments from you. And we encourage you to go to our website, nebraskapublicmedia.org/funwithflowers, and make a donation. We would love to have you at the $7 a month level, and we'll thank you with Jay's book, Fun with Flowers. Fun with Flowers is the first one that I believe I had from Jay, and it really inspired me at home. And I told Jay that I saw him at an event recently, and it changed the way I decorated my Christmas tree, adding a lot more flowers than ever before. And I love this section in the book, Fun with Flowers for Pets. I mean, who would think of this except Jay and now all the rest of us, to make something that our pets could wear and enjoy? So here's fun with rainbow colors and flowers. How fun is that? This is in his book, available to you when you donate $7 a month to Nebraska Public Media. At the $10 a month level, you'll have two books, the Fun with Flowers book and the Bloom 365. That Bloom 365, Jay, wow, 365 days of the year and 365 ideas in this book, right?
Absolutely. They're my favorite tricks. And in both books, there are over 24 video links so that they can go and they can learn along with us, so that you'll go to videos that'll teach you how to make some of the arrangements you see in Fun with Flowers. There's also videos in Bloom 365 that'll take you and allow you to learn some of the tricks step by step with me. So, yeah.
And at the $14 a month level, you'll get both of those books. You'll get the pins, buttons like I'm wearing, and you'll get access to a year subscription to ubloom.com. Tell us about that website, Jay.
So every week we add a new video. So we have done that since 2006. And then it also contains, so there's the old information and all of the projects that we have there, those 600 plus videos, plus we add a new one every week. And we send out an email reminder to tell you about the new one that's coming up, so you'll have access to that. Plus, we have our flower documentaries there. There's a 40 series documentary about the flower farms in California, where I take you right to the flower farms and you can see how they grow those flowers. We also did one in Florida for the Florida foliage farmers and take you to a clematis farm where you can see how they grow clematis. Then there's also one where we go all the way to South America and we take you on tours of farms in Colombia, South America, which is the largest flower producing country in the world. So it's a really fun thing. You've got lots of stuff. There's a place called Flowers 101 on the website, which is just basic tricks. There's another place that's called Flower Mechanics, and it's all archived for you. So you can just go through and you literally can sit there for hours, days, weeks, and continue to watch flower programming. So it's a fun night.
If you're going to go down the rabbit hole online, you might as well be in a beautiful setting with flowers all around you.
Exactly. I'll go with you. I'll go right along with you. So yeah, that's perfect.
So we have time for another arrangement, unless
Awesome. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, so here, let me show you this. A lot of times people will have a bowl that has a big opening and it's shallow, and they don't know what to do. So what I have done is I took this, it is a 1/4 inch clear Scotch tape, and I did a grid work. And I don't know if can you see it? Am I getting a good reflection on that?
You can see that, yes.
So the grid work goes across the top, and that's what we're going to use for support for our flowers. So I am going to grab my watering can, which has my flower food water in it, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill this up.
Hey, Jay, while you're doing that, Bonnie wants to know, do you condition the flowers and greenery that you pick from your own garden?
So yes, I pick them very early in the morning. So I went out this morning at 6 o'clock. It's my favorite hour in the garden because it's so quiet. The birds are singing. It's amazing. And the sun's just coming up. And so I cut everybody when it's early in the morning because everybody's hydrated. I put them into my water, ice cold water with my flower food. I bring them in here, and we're actually in the basement of my house. So I bring them down here where it's nice and cool, and I let them set for 3 to 4 hours before I start arranging them. So yes.
Good. We're getting some more questions, so I'll just keep putting those in as you arrange this.
Perfect. I'm gonna add some rocks to the bottom of this, so the rocks will help our stems stay in place. It's also fun because it's kind of like the circus, right? Stuff goes everywhere. All right, there we go. We'll use the same bouquet again, and ask away, Nancy.
Okay, so since I see a sunflower in there, here's a perfect one from Jerry, who is watching from Pacific Grove, California. She says, one of my sunflower heads broke off, so I put it in a small dish of water. Is there a way to reconnect a broken flower to its stem?
What a great question, and no.
Okay.
So what you have to do at that point in time is just enjoy him as a short flower. You did the right thing by putting him inside there. You actually could use a few rocks so that it doesn't sit and float in the water, but actually stands up a little bit above it. That could be super helpful. And that's what's happening here is our flowers are going in, our stems are kind of holding them in place.
Brenda,
go ahead.
Brenda from Elkhorn has a question about hydrangeas and how.
I love Elkhorn. I love Elkhorn. My nephew used to live in Elkhorn. Love it.
All right. How can you arrange hydrangeas so that they last longer? She says, I cut them from my yard and I don't have flower food to add to the water, but are there ways to keep them longer? And best way to arrange them so they last longer, I guess is her question.
Okay, so if you are ever looking for flower food, you can get flower food on my website. Just go into the store and there's actually a portal to the Kreisel company and you can buy it direct from them. So that will help you get some flower food, which would be helpful. Picking your hydrangeas early in the morning again, don't pick them late at night because by then they're already dehydrated and that will give you a little bit of difficulty before you even get started. But putting them in the flower food is going to be helpful, making sure that they're hydrated. And so what I would suggest is picking them early in the morning, bringing them inside, letting them cool off a little bit. If you have room to get them into the refrigerator, that would be ideal because you'll harden them off like lettuce. And they have a similar cell structure to lettuce. So when you've put them in the refrigerator, then they're going to get crisp like lettuce does, you know, as it hangs out in there. And so that would be super helpful to them.
That's great. And Jay was talking about hydrangeas, just in case you missed the question. Judy from Omaha is wondering, are there places in Nebraska where one can get your bouquets, Jay?
So we have Jay's Bouquets. And so they are available at Albertsons grocery stores. And unfortunately, there are no Albertsons or Safeways in Nebraska, nor in Michigan. And interestingly enough, the two places you can't get them, Nebraska and Michigan, but people are loving them. So we are working with a new company right now that is going to be making another line of Jay's Bouquets called Flowers for Around the House. And they are going to be available at different grocery stores than the Albertsons ones. And so actually we're having discussions with our friends at Hy-Vee. So fingers crossed.
All right. Thanks for that question, Judy. Where can one find anti-transpirant spray that you were using, Jay?
You can get that again on my website, or you can use this link, ubloom.com/buy Kreisel, B-U-Y Kreisel. And you can get the anti-transpirant, and it's called Kreisel Professional Glory. Good. You can also get it from a professional florist. If you go into a professional florist, they would be happy to sell it to you. I think the guys at STEM Gallery, they probably would know those guys real well. So that would be a good place. Curtis.
Okay.
So yeah.
Question from Jeff. He wants to know, do you try to limit the colors that you use when working with fresh flowers? And you have a variety of colors there in the arrangement you're doing right now, but how do you limit or don't you your colors?
I do. And I am typically very focused on color. These little bouquets that the ladies made for me today are very mixed in color. And so you'll notice I don't use a lot of white, but you'll notice when we made the other ones over here, how I used oranges and yellows together, or I might put all of my white flowers in one bouquet. So I do try and focus on the color because I think you make a lot better impact with a singular colored arrangement or two colors than you do with something that has a myriad of colors involved in them. So yeah, it is good to do that. That's a great suggestion. And I am a color guy. I mean, I learned so much from my friend Leah Treseisman and the director of the Pantone Institute. And I love having, certain flower arrangements. When I get my zinnias, I have a grower who's going to have zinnias in a couple weeks. I divide them up when I get them home. So I put all the magenta ones together, the orange ones together, the yellow ones in another vase, the green ones in another vase. So I do try and divide them because I like that too. But some people just love a beautiful mixed color arrangement.
There's probably no wrong way to do it as long as we're doing something with fresh flowers, right?
I think, and the other thing too is the neat thing about flowers is because of the iridescence in them, all colors go together. The one thing I notice about white is when I add white to an arrangement, it will dilute the color palette by about 60%. So you'll notice that I don't have a lot of white in this bouquet, and that has really helped it be more multicolored and more, and a little more exciting than this one. Notice how the white kind of overpowers the pink, and it makes it look more like a half and half, a gingham type look. Mm-hmm. So yeah, great question.
Beautiful. And keep those questions coming. Type those into the chat box. And also, we'd love to see if anybody has a floral arrangement at home they've been working on that they could share with us. Jay is holding his latest.
That little guy. So look at how great that turned out. And it was easy because I used that grid work on top to hold everyone in place.
That's helpful. Celeste and Jerry both learned an odd number should be used when arranging flowers. Is that rule of arrangements still true?
So that is a professional design school theory that master gardeners use, professional florists use sometimes. It has relaxed a lot over the past few years. You'll notice that, in this guy, I have two lilies. I really, so that's okay. I think that flower arranging has relaxed a lot. And the thing I always say too is do what pleases you the most. That's what's going to be important. And so you will notice that many times I will use 1 or 2, or I'll use 4, and I won't do like the 1, 3, 5, or the golden mean. But that is a method and theory that there is nothing wrong with, and it makes beautiful arrangements, but I don't believe it's something that has to be.
Okay, good. I like that. Rules if you want to follow them, and break them if you don't, right?
Correct. And I think it's always great for us to know the rules first, because then it's more fun to break them.
Very good. And it's all about Fun with Flowers with Jay Schwanke here on Nebraska Public Media. I want to remind you that you can watch Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom on Saturdays at 11 o'clock Central Time on Nebraska Public Media, our PBS channel. If you are an early riser, it's also on Tuesday mornings at 5 Central on our Create channel. And we have thank you gifts tonight from Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom that we have on our website, nebraskapublicmedia.org/funwithflowers. We have books, we have buttons, we have subscriptions to really step-by-step videos and all kinds of content. So when you pledge $7 a month, you'll receive the Fun with Flowers book and a set of Life in Bloom buttons. At the $10 a month level, we have 2 books, Fun with Flowers and Bloom 365, plus the Life in Bloom buttons. Or join us at $14 a month and you'll get all of those things, plus a 1-year subscription to ubloom.com. It's a website that you will find so much content on there. There are documentaries, as Jay mentioned earlier, also over 600 videos, step-by-step instructions and inspirations for arranging flowers in your home. So we hope that you will consider becoming a member, renewing your support, or giving an additional gift right now at nebraskapublicmedia.org/funwithflowers. We have about 12 minutes left with Jay tonight. So if you would like to know something, now is your chance to ask in our chat box. Cameron wants to know, is there something I can spray on the pollen of lilies to keep it from falling or flaking off?
I've never heard of that, but I do know the secret when it gets on your clothes. So if you have that, so when my lilies come into bloom, just this morning, I probably have maybe 15 or 20 plants that are in bloom. And as I was cutting flowers this morning, I went to those lilies and I pulled the pollen immediately. As soon as the lily is open enough to get my fingers inside, I will pluck that pollen out. And that's usually before it turns fibrous or turns to a powder. So it's an easy time to remove it. However, if you bring it inside, you get it on a tablecloth or you get it on your clothing. Before you do anything, take and set it in the sun, in direct sunlight for 3 hours, and the pollen will magically disappear. It's photosensitive and it will disappear in the sunlight. If you have rubbed it, or if you have, even if you've rubbed it though, even if you've rubbed it, you can put it in there and it will disappear. If you've washed it, I can't help you. Okay. But so before it goes in the laundry, put it out in the sun for at least 3 hours. Sometimes it takes 6. Depends on how cloudy it is on that day, but that will help you. But I just remove it. The other thing that's magical, if you get them stained on your lilies and you want to remove it, I use the Kreisel Professional Glory, the anti-transparent, and I mist it heavily and it just washes it off. It's amazing. Works really well. I don't know why it does that, but it does.
Well,
So
all these tips and tricks are so valuable. Thank you. I've
yeah.
made the mistake of rubbing.
Those are in the book too. Those are in that book that you're showing tonight. So that's wonderful. Also on the website, if I can tell you too, all of the recipes and the projects that we do on Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom are in our blog. So if you're looking for the recipes, looking for the cocktail recipes, looking for directions for the projects, and we have all of the past episodes up there too. So you can look at those online if you missed one. If you missed one and you want to catch one or watch another one again.
Watch
And
it again, share it with a
it's a free
friend.
part of the website. So anybody can go to the UBloom website at that point and just click on the Life in Bloom logo and it'll take you right to the Life in Bloom part of the website.
Good to know. We have a question from Jeff. He wants to know, how long will fresh flowers last in handheld bouquets, corsages, and boutonnieres?
Got it. Typically, I would say pretty close, an average 12 to 18 hours. And that's where you need a cooler and a refrigerator, because once you've created something as a corsage or a boutonniere or a handheld bouquet that doesn't have a water supply, you've probably only got 12 to 18 hours before it's going to start to fade. I also am very familiar with your summers. So when it's 112, it's going to be less. So that heat is just so hard. And when I used to do weddings back there all the time, I would sometimes suggest, if they were getting married in the middle of August, I would have them have 2 sets of boutonnieres, 2 sets of corsages, 2 sets of bouquets, because after about 3 or 4 hours, they would need to bring out the second one so that everything didn't look bad. So, it's a challenge when the temperatures get high. So,
it is. Well,
and it can get hot in Nebraska.
Someone asks, how often should flower stems be trimmed or placed in new water? Should they?
No, not if we use our flower nutrient. So with these vases that I made, I would simply go back in with my bottle. Remember the bottle that I made that has the flower food in it that I've kept in the refrigerator? I will just go back in and top off. Because I've used the flower food has 5 magical ingredients in it. One is a vasodilator. And the reason you would cut a stem again is because it would seal off at the end or bacteria would fill it up. There's a bacteria agent preventing bacteria growth. There's a vasodilator that opens up the vessels of the flower. There's a pH controller that keeps the pH between 3.5 and 4.5. There's sugars in there that feed the flowers as well. So it gives them strength so they can open their buds all the way to the very end. And then there's a surfactant. And what the surfactant does is it's just like dish soap. You did the experiment in chemistry class where you drop it in and then the grease just all goes away. That surfactant takes that skin off of the water and allows it to travel up the stem faster. So there's really truly magic inside these little packets. And I think it's an ideal place. When you go to your flower seller, ask them if they have the packets and see if you can get some extra ones. Because I encourage people to just have a few in your drawer in the kitchen. We all have that drawer, right? So that has all the stuff in it. So inside that drawer, have a couple of those in there so that you can mix up flower food. I mix up, so just so you know, I have about 10 to 15 bouquets in the house every week. And I mix up about 12 liters of flower food. And I just go around every day and add water to every one. I'd never recut the stems. I never change the water. And my flowers last anywhere from 14 to 21 days. It's amazing.
Well, you're definitely doing something right. And now I will too, because that won't last as long as yours. So I've picked up a lot of tips. We have about 5 minutes left. And so still some time if someone wants to type in a question. Carrie has asked, what advice would you give to people who are just brand new to wanting to do their own flower arrangements? Where should she begin?
First of all, I want to tell you that I love you because I think that you should do it. It's one of the most rewarding things. It is my favorite thing. I made a promise to myself many years ago to arrange flowers every day. I make sure that every day I do an arrangement, even if it's a little one, even if it's something like this. But first and foremost, remember, you are the person that you need to please. You don't need to please anyone else. You don't need to make a showpiece the first time. You need to enjoy that process. And get the flowers, experiment and practice. People say to me all the time, Jay, you make arranging flowers look so easy, because I do it every day. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. I was an okay cook coming into this last year. I'm a really good cook now. I've learned to make sourdough bread. I've learned so many things because I took the time to practice. So practice. And when you're doing it, I really encourage you to make it a ritual. Have a place that you do it. I have a place in my home where I do it, where I create my flower arrangements. As a special room that I have all my stuff there. So I can make my flower arrangements there. I have a speaker so I can play my favorite music. I grab my coffee cup in the morning and I stand there with my coffee cup. The dogs have a bed in there, so the dogs will come curl up while I'm arranging flowers. And I just take my time and I enjoy the process. And I think if I was going to give you a hint, A, you're going to please yourself. B, practice. And C, take your time. Take your time and experiment and say, you know what? I didn't like where this went, so I'm going to move it over here. That's okay. That's the best part about it. And you are going to be amazed and surprised at how great you feel about it. And so if I can advance, once you have that and you're saying, okay, Jay, I feel pretty comfortable now. I feel pretty good about it. What should I do next? I want you to make something and give it away to someone else, because you're giving them part of what you created. And scientific research tells us that the endorphins I told you were secreting when you were arranging, the person you give the flowers to secretes dopamine and it makes them feel better. And you've never screwed up somebody's day by giving them flowers. I've never had anybody say, oh, no, thanks. I don't want the flowers, because it makes them happy, and giving something to someone else makes them happy too. I am so fortunate that every week I share flowers with millions of people, and that does so much good for me and so much good for them. It's something that we share together. So yeah, I love you and I want you to do it. I think that would be great. And you know what? My phone number and my email address is on my show website. So call me if you're frustrated. I'll fix it. We'll get it taken care of together. So
we're going to squeeze in one quick question and then talk
Sure.
about thank you gifts again. Gina wants to know, should you use the anti-transparent on corsages and bouquets?
Yes, absolutely. Best place to use them, because that is going to seal them and it's going to help them last longer. When we put a flower on our body or we're holding it next to our body, we're generating heat too. And so that causes those flowers to evaporate water even faster. So having that anti-transpirant on there seals in that moisture and helps them last so much longer.
All right, so let's go through those thank you gifts again, as we're so appreciative of Jay's time here tonight. When you are a supporter of Nebraska Public Media at the $7 a month level, you can choose as your thank you gift his book called Fun with Flowers. We'll also send you a package of buttons from the Life in Bloom show. Or at $10 a month, you can have two books, the Fun with Flowers and Bloom 365 books, and also that button package. Or at the $14 a month level, a 1-year You Bloom subscription. Now, this is that website we've talked about that has over 600 step-by-step videos about flowers and arranging and documentaries, all kinds of information. You'll have a 1-year subscription to that, plus those two books and the Life in Bloom buttons. So you can make your contribution online at nebraskapublicmedia.org/funwithflowers. And we will have a recording of tonight's event on that same website so that you can watch this again or share it with your friends. Again, it's nebraskapublicmedia.org/funwithflowers. Thank you so much for spending your time with us tonight. It's been a lot of fun, and thank you for supporting Nebraska Public Media. Don't forget to watch Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom on Saturday mornings at 11 Central here on Nebraska Public Media's PBS channel. Also on our Create channel Tuesday mornings at 5. Jay, welcome virtually back to your home state of Nebraska. We're so proud to have you here, and thank you for all that you do.
Oh, it's been wonderful, Nancy. I appreciate it. And thank you for tuning in and watching the show. It means the world to me. As a little kid, I sat in front of my television in Fremont, Nebraska, and I would watch the PBS station. And I was always trying to figure out a way that I could somehow be the guy inside that box. And so I want to make your lives fuller. I want to make your lives better. I want to help you create your own life in bloom. So thank you for being a supporter of our Nebraska Public Media station and for watching television and for watching Life in Bloom. I appreciate it so much.
And we appreciate you, Jay. You make our world more beautiful through flowers. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.